Hello and welcome to our Jesse Tree Devotion for the 15th of December. We're reading from Anne Voskamp's Unwrapping the Greatest Gift. Today, for the 15th of December, this is our ornament. If you are coloring them in or have printed out the colored ones at home. And the title is Bowing Down. And our reading comes to us from 1 Kings 18, verses 18 to 24. I have made no trouble for Israel, Elijah replied. You and your family are the troublemakers. For you have refused to obey the commands of the Lord and have worshipped the images of Baal instead. Now summon all Israel to join me at Mount Carmel, along with the 450 prophets of Baal and the 400 prophets of Asher, who are supported by Jezebel. So Ahab summoned all the people of Israel and the prophets of Mount Carmel. Then Elijah stood in front of them and said, How much longer will you waver, hobbling between two opinions? If the Lord is God, follow him. But if Baal is God, then follow him. But the people were completely silent. Then Elijah said to them, I am the only prophet of the Lord who is left. But Baal has 450 prophets. Now bring 2 bulls. The prophets of Baal may choose whichever one they wish, and cut it into pieces and lay it on the wood of their altar, but without setting fire to it. I will prepare the other bull and lay it on the wood on the altar, but not set fire to it. Then call on the name of your God, and I will call on the name of the Lord. The God who answers by setting fire to the wood is the true God. And all the people agreed. Our devotion. Many years after King David, God's people had an angry king named Ahab, who didn't love God at all. Soon many of God's people also hated the one real God, who loved them with an unbeatable, uncontainable, unwrappable love. Instead, they worshipped a false, imaginary God they called Baal. Now, every heart beating and every person is made and wired to worship something. You might not be able to tell from the outside, but every one of us is bowing down to something. And if you don't choose to bow to the one real God, you'll bow down before a fake God. Some Baal. Baal isn't just the name of one fake God. It's the name of anything we set our hearts on beside God. There's the Baal of bigger toys, and the Baal of more stuff, and the Baal of me. It's always our ugly Baals that keep us from the unstoppable, unfailing love of God. So a man named Elijah, a man who loved God and listened to God, told King Ahab to have everyone gather around Mount Carmel. Elijah stood at the front of the enormous crowd of people who were all bowing down to Baals and cried, How much longer will you lean this way and that way and flail and flop between the one real God and these Baals? If the Lord is your one real God, follow God and bow down to God. But if some Baal is really what you are bowing down to, then don't pretend that God is your greatest gift. They say that when you waver and flip-flop between gods, what you are really doing is sinking, like you're drowning. So Elijah told those Baal bowers to put on the altar and asked their Baal to light the whole thing up in a ball of fire. Then Elijah would do the same thing and pray to his God. Whichever one hurled down the fireballs was the real God. So the Baal bowers built an altar, and then they flailed and flung about in this dance, trying to get Baal to drop down some fire. Then they started to do even more heartbreaking things like hurting and cutting themselves to get Baal to notice them, to hear them throw down some flame. Can you guess how you know you're bowing down to a Baal on the inside? When you are trying to perform, trying to impress on the outside. You know you have a Baal when you cut yourself down or cut anyone else down. Never forget the gift of it. There's only one real God who was cut open so you and your heart can be close to God. So you don't have to cut yourself down or cut anyone else down. But the Baal bowers danced even more crazily, looking like they were drowning. It's hard to get a fake God to do anything for you, isn't it? Then Elijah quietly poured water over his wooden altar. Not once, but twice. Not twice, but 3 times. Do you know how hard it is to start a fire with wood that's wet and dripping? But Elijah whispered, "Please send fire, one real God, so everyone will know you are the one real God." And fire fell like flaming stars. So everyone and lit the wet wood. The flames like tongues licked up the water, ringing around the altar. Was anyone expecting that? The mouths of the people dropped open, shocked open. The one real God is real. Many years later, a star would burn like a glowing flame in the sky, right over a stable, where a little baby God would lie in a manger, much like an altar. And tongues would murmur it again that night, just like we do. The Lord is the one real God. God is really our God. And you can feel it, this love for our Lord burning like warm fire in our hearts. So we place our fire on our Jesse tree. And our thoughts to discuss. How can you tell if something is a false god in your life? What are some Baals that have captured your heart? Write down your Baals on a slip of paper. And if you have a fireplace, toss the papers into the fire. If not, crumble them up and throw them away. And thank God that God is our real, one true God of love. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you again tomorrow on the 16th of December.